Hey y'all, Bill Quirk with the Defensive Training Group and Big Daddy Unlimited. Today we're going to be talking about go bags or everyday carry EDC bags. So in the video we did last time, and if you want to click the link above, you can watch that video. I talked about my CZ Scorpion build and if I was going to carry an EDC setup as far as my firearm and a trauma kit off body, this is something that I might use. So in this case, we've got our Vertex sling bag. In the main compartment, I've got my CZ Scorpion Micro that we showed in the last video. In the rear compartment, which is normally the weapon compartment, I've got my trauma kit and of course my tourniquet. So replicates some spare magazines are carried up front. So this replicates the kind of thing that I would normally carry on my person, my firearm, my trauma kit, and other essential equipment. This is just in bag form. So this is very specific. This is mission oriented if I was going to carry a firearm in an off-body configuration. You can also set this up with your spare ammunition up here, the trauma kit and whatnot in the main admin section, and then a handgun in this back pouch. The reason I don't put the Scorpion back here is this isn't quite thick enough to fit the entire Scorpion with the side folding brace, but you could do that. So this is, like I said, a very specific mission. This is if I was going to carry a EDC firearm in an off-body kind of configuration. Now let's look at another example of a go bag. And before we get into talking about the bag itself, I want to talk about just the idea, the theory behind these things. So there are a bunch of different arguments out there for what you should carry, how you should configure it, and so on and so forth. And we really want to think hard about what the mission is, what's the purpose of the bag, and to be blunt, separate fact from fantasy. Sometimes we have ideas of this is the bag that I'm going to, when the world goes south, I'm going to survive out of. And that's not really realistic for most people. So one way that you can think about this with your everyday carry equipment is what you carry on your person is sufficient to get you back to your vehicle. You want to have a bag in the vehicle that's going to allow you to operate out of the vehicle and perform medical tasks, resupply tasks, things of that nature until you can get home where the rest of your equipment is. Now you may have a greater setup at home in a larger bag that's going to be your get out of town bag, but quite frankly for most people it's probably a better idea to get home and shelter in place. If you think about it, most of us are not really equipped to survive in the wild, which is what people frequently say, and well, is that really viable? But the point is, tier your gear so that you've got just what you need. That's a big risk with these things, is putting too much stuff, shoving all kinds of different things in there. And you're going to see with this is very specifically loaded, and it's only what I need to resupply myself to handle some basic tasks and medical issues and whatnot from my vehicle. That's what it's meant to do, to get me home where the rest of my equipment is. So what I have in this is a 511 Tactical Moab 6 sling bag. In the main compartment in the middle here, this is where I keep all the medical gear. So I have a CPR shield. I have a couple of tourniquets that are laid on top because I want to have quick access to them. A bottle of water, kind of crushed because I get it squeezed in here, but good. A couple of pairs of gloves. An emergency blanket that also just kind of sits on top. A spare pair of eye protection. This is just a good thing to have in case you're going to need it. And the compartments on the inside, if you can see how this is set up in a clamshell. On this side, I've got the trauma gear. So I've got a couple of chest seals, a couple of packs of combat gauze, and then some compression bandages that all sit here together. This is what I'm going to use, go to if I'm dealing with some sort of gunshot trauma or something major along those lines, even coming up on a car crash or something. This is the section I'm going to go to. A pair of trauma shears are stuck in the back here. And then on this side, I've got a more conventional boo-boo pouch. So this is where I can handle more mundane things. If we're out hiking and one of the kids falls and scrapes their knee, if I get cut and it's something that's not arterial, I just need to bandage it up and make it look good so that I can move on. This is where all that equipment's going to be. So in here, I've got tape, Band-Aids and alcohol prep pads, ibuprofen and Neosporin, antibiotic type stuff. Down in the lower section, we've got our 4x4 gauze pads and whatnot. Some more tape and compressed type bandages. Some deep woods off, if in case we're in the woods and we're getting bit up by mosquitoes. Some hand sanitizer. And then just some more durable, not quite duct tape, but that type of idea to cover up things if we have some abrasions or something along those lines. So that's the medical portion that I keep in the bag. In the front here, I've got a couple of artificial light sources. These are basically battery-powered glow sticks that take a couple of AA batteries per each, and they'll glow for quite a while in case I need an artificial light source. In this front admin pouch, I've got a flashlight that sits on top, obviously very important. Some tools, so I've got a multi-tool, a Gerber multi-tool, and a folding knife, a pen and a marker, just in case. Cigarette lighter, mundane but very important if you want to start a fire. Window punch. I've got a very minimal toolkit for my handgun. So I've got a Glock tool, a couple of spare batteries for my RMR. I've got a couple of wrenches in here to access to get the RMR off the gun and replace the batteries, some spare RMR screws. And then this wrench is a universal, it's a 1/8 that's going to fit most of my holster hardware. So in case a screw comes loose or something like that, I've got a way to repair that. Notepad. Spare batteries for my flashlight. Obviously, if you're carrying the flashlight, you want to be able to carry the spare batteries as well. Some empty baggies. You never know when you might need these. These are good to have as well. Then I've got 4 spare magazines for my Glock. And yes, these are loaded with ball ammunition. If I get to the point where I'm utilizing these, I'm not too worried about what I've got. I just want something that's going to go bang. And depending on where we are in the situation, the ball is going to feed a little bit more reliably than your hollow point. So that's what I keep those loaded with. Your mileage may vary, and certainly you can do whatever you think is appropriate. So that's basically what we got in here. All right. So then in the top portion here, there's this little felt line pouch, some spare hearing protection, just in case I ever need that. And this pouch up here is where I keep my tech. So up here I've got a charger for my cell phone with plugs for wall and car mount, so I can recharge my cell phone if I need to. And then in the back compartment here, just some parachute line, 550 cord, and a snap link. Couple snap links, and that way I've just got additional stuff. I can solve a bunch of different problems here. It's nothing terribly glamorous or anything. It's basic stuff that's going to allow me to get from wherever I am, get back home. And I can re-equip myself, reload my weapon, repair my weapon if I need to. I can provide medical attention to myself or somebody else. Not a whole lot more than that. This isn't meant to be a wilderness survival type of package. It's meant to be something that I can simply get home to where the rest of my gear is. So this gives you an idea of a simple setup. Again, the big principles are plan what you need this for. So don't expand the mission beyond what it needs to be. Only carry what you need to carry for that particular mission. And make sure you know what you've got in here. Make sure you know how to use it, especially with the medical equipment. Get the training so that you can do stuff there. Don't carry too much, and just make sure it makes all sense with you. If you don't have it when you're going to need it, if it's so big that you don't have it in the car, it's not going to really be beneficial to you. Okay, so as usual, if you like the video, give us a like, subscribe. If you have any questions, put them down below. And until next time, stay safe.